Morning. Walk day number 187. Thirsty Thursday. Thanks for coming along with me. Thanks for checking in on me. I'm here. I haven't missed a day yet, although in the last week I haven't been getting up nearly as early as I normally would. I mean, you all know why. I don't need to explain it. So in the U.S., we're celebrating Independence Day, the anniversary of our American Declaration of Independence. At least the date that's on the paper, anyway. The process is a lot more complicated than our elementary schools made it out to be. But that's the story of American history. You scratch the surface and you learn a lot more than what they told us. But nonetheless, as a genealogist, I have a connection to the American independence, the Revolutionary War, and that's one of the best things about being a genealogist, is that you do end up scratching the surface. You do learn a little bit about how your relatives, your ancestors, played a role in shaping places where they lived, whether it be back in Europe or here in America or wherever your ancestors ended up. Now, on my dad's side, they all came from Europe. They all came long after the Constitution was written. They all came in the 19th century, mid-19th century to later. They all came before Ellis Island, I'll tell you that. So they're not more recent European immigrants. They're kind of in that middle range. Whereas my mother's side of the family, some of them came from mainland Europe. I've talked about them before. My Bavarian ancestors, they were one of the earliest ones, 1837, to leave. And yet, on my mom's side, they were the last ones to leave. All of the other ancestors on my mother's side were here long before that. Most of them were colonialists. And the stories they left behind are crazy. A lot of people forget that New York State once had slavery. And it's awkward to admit that, yes, my mother's family owned human beings both in the South and the North. That little part of American history that, again, gets glossed over. So it's not independence for everyone. Anyway, but the things we fought for, one of my ancestors, I've told the story before, but maybe you haven't heard it. One of my ancestors didn't want to preach the official King's Church, the Anglican Church. You got to remember, the colonialists were under rule of the king, and the king said, "You will go to my church." That's what we were fighting for. We were having people say, "We don't want to go to your church. We want our own church." And one of my ancestors was a Baptist and wasn't preaching the King's Church, and he did so without a license, and he was thrown into jail. He was locked up for preaching without a license. And were they going to issue him a license? That's a good question. I don't think so, because he wasn't preaching the proper church. He wasn't preaching the King's Church. That's what we fought for. That's the kind of crap that living under a king, living under a ruler, living under a authoritarian society, we gave up that because we wanted to have our own choices. We wanted our liberty. It's a message that's lost on a lot of people right now, and it's kind of sad. We need to remind ourselves why America came into existence. So enjoy your Independence Day. Thank you for listening. I'll check in with you later. Bye for now.